Quick reminder, standing double crochet, we do a slip knot onto the hook, and we go to our starting corner, and we're going to do a double crochet by holding the knot in place, yarning over, going through the hole, the corner, pulling the yarn through, yarning over and pulling through, yarning over and pulling through. So we've got our double crochet there all ready to go. So now we're going to do another double crochet, remembering to flip our tail yarn up so we're weaving our yarn in as we go, and another double crochet, flipping the tail yarn up, coming over, we're going to do that, flip the tail yarn up again, and then go into the next cluster. And we're flipping the tail yarn. So we're going to do all clusters until we get to the next corner. And we just continue doing everything we did with the previous colour for 5 rows. And then we'll have 5 rows of this, 5 rows of the white, and then we'll have 5 rows of this colour as well. So I will see you back when it comes to changing to the next colour. Okay, so let's just finish this row off. Join in with the slip stitch. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop this on here to hold it in place whilst I show you what we're doing next. Right, so what I have done is, so we've got the centre strip of white, and then we've used the strip of 5 rows of colour 6, and then we've used 5 rows of colour 7, and then we've used 5 rows of, I've lost the strap for that, the band for that, I think it's colour 5, yeah, that one's colour 5. And now I've done 2 rows of colour 49. Random. Okay, so now what we're going to do in this top corner where the stitch is, I'm going to bring this edge, so this corner will come to this corner. I'm just going to use that to clip it in place for now. Let me just make sure I keep that in there so it doesn't come adrift. And then we're going to bring this bit up here so it's level with the cardigan. So we've got an arm for the cardigan. In a minute, I've just got yarn tangled up with everything because that's the joy of crochet. Right, okay, so we have our corners straight, on this side, and then we'll do the same on the other side so we can see what we've got. So we've got a nice straight edge at the top, and then we've got a corner, and then we're bringing this up here, and we're straightening out here. So as you can see, these overlap at the moment. That's not wrong, that's fine. For what I want to create, that's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at this. We're going to make sure all of the holes are lined up. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take a stitch marker and just join those two together so we know where our holes are. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to count along here, 1, 2, just making sure all of my holes are lined up until I get to 6 away from the neck. Right, so I'm going to look at this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we go back here, and I'm just going to put a stitch marker in there so I know what I'm doing here, and that will give me a nice little neck flap there when it comes together. Okay, and then we're going to do the same on this side. So just going to make sure all of my holes are lined up. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to just pop the stitch marker in that point, but I am going to make sure all my holes are lined up between now and then. Well, I mean 1, 2. Okay, so let's just make sure the stitch marker goes through the 2, just so I know exactly where I am. And we have the 2 lapels all sorted. So that is the shape we're looking at. At the moment. Okay, got 2 nice looking lapels, and now I'm going to show you how to join the top of the sleeve. So we're going to take our hook, okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to do just a slip stitch in here, and then we are going to do a double crochet into this corner. So I'm just going to yarn over, pop this through, and we're doing a double crochet. And then we're going to do a slip stitch into here, and we're going to do this another 2 times, double crochet, slip stitch, and then we're going to do another double crochet, and then what we're going to do is we are going to do a slip stitch into this next gap here. And then we do a double crochet into this gap here. and a slip stitch on the other side, and then a double crochet. Slip stitch like so, and then we're going to do we're going to do another double crochet in here, and then we're going to do a slip stitch into this next gap, and then a double crochet into this gap on this side. So we're just going to continue all the way along until we get to these stitch markers with our slip stitches and our double crochets. Slip stitch on one side, double crochet on the other side, slip stitch on one side. Then once we've got three double crochets, we then slip stitch into the next gap, like so, and we start all over again. We got a double crochet, and we're going to do this on both sides, and I'll meet you back in just a moment. Okay, so we're just going to pop the last slip stitch, because we've done 3 here. We're just going to put the last slip stitch into this one here, just to give it that little bit of consistency that we've having, and then we're going to snip off and fasten off, and then do the same on the other side. Obviously we're going to be joining the yarn to the other side, so I'm just going to undo this, and we're going to do a slip knot. And we're going to join it to the yarn with a slip stitch. There we go. So now we're going to do a double crochet into the opposite side and do exactly what we did with the other arm. Slip stitching on one side. Oop. Double crocheting on the other side. Obviously trying to weave in our ends as we go, because you know I do love to weave my ends in as I go. Just flip the yarn over so it gets caught up with the slip stitch. Because I really don't like to weave in ends at the end. Now we're going to go over to the next gap, slip stitch, and we continue as we did on the other arm. 2 double crochet one side, slip stitch the other side. Oops. Okay, one more double crochet. Because we've woven in, that bit can just be snipped off at the end. So we're going to just go in here, slip stitch, and continue till we meet the stitch marker. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some to the sleeves, just a little bit, just to create the another 3 rows of the dark, and then I'm going to put like a scalloped edge on the sleeve, and this is how we're going to do that. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do a slip knot onto the hook, and we are going to create a standing double crochet or a standing treble crochet if you're using UK terms. So we have our thing, as we've done before, we have our finger on the knot to make sure it doesn't move, and we yarn over the hook. We then pick a spot to start. I'm going to start here, and then we're going to go through the gap, and we're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'm going to flip my tail yarn here, because obviously I want to get rid of the tail yarn as I go. So I'm now going to do another 2 double crochets in that gap. So that's our starting cluster. Now I'm going to flip that over, and then I'm going to go into the next cluster, as you do when you're doing any granny cluster formation. So we've got 3 more in here, weaving the tail end in as I go, so I haven't got to worry about that at the end. And I will see you once I've done 3 rows of this. Obviously when I get to the other end I'm going to join with a slip stitch, so I'll see you once I've done another 3 rows. So we'll have the 5 rows deep. So obviously where the sleeve is, because we've got 2 rows, 2 rows, and then the join row we've got 5 rows, which means that we've got our cohesiveness on there. So now I'm going to create another 3 rows here, so it matches the rest of the sleeve, and I'll see you back to do the next part, the next stage. Okay, so we've got our 5 rows of the purple, and now we're going to add the white. I'm going to add some more of this. Helps if we've got it the right way up. So we've got the colour one that we used for the very start. We're going to do some edging. We're going to do the edging in this. So obviously we're going to start with a standing double crochet. So create a slip stitch, yarn over, and then find your starting point. I'm going to start here and go straight in with a double crochet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a double crochet in every stitch rather than in every cluster. So we're going to go every stitch rather than 3 in each cluster. So we're going 1, just gonna do a little flip so we've got the tail yarn locked in, and then we can just crochet over the tail yarn. Obviously I have woven in my tail yarn from the other colour before I started this bit. Let's do that in the stitch. So yeah, we're just going to go in every stitch all the way round. For the whole row, we're just going to go double crochet in every stitch like so. And I will meet you back. Pause this now, and I will meet you back for the end of the row and the next stage. Okay, so now we have created our row of double crochets. I am now going to start with a single crochet here, and then I'm going to skip 2 and do a double crochet and do 5 double crochets in this point here. 7 double crochets, sorry, 7 double crochets in this point here. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just double check. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now I'm going to skip 2 and then do a single crochet in this stitch here, and that's our first scallop. So then we skip 2, 1, 2, and then do a double crochet in here. So 7 double crochets. So yeah, we've got 7 double crochets. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7, and then again we're gonna skip 2 and do a single crochet in the third, and we are going to continue. This is our row repeat. So okay, so we're going to go around the whole row by doing these single crochet and then skipping 2 and 7 treble crochets in the third stitch, so we can create this scalloped edge. And I will meet you back at the other end to finish the row. Okay, so I've come to the end of the row, and I am just going to join in that first single crochet with a slip stitch. Oh, there we go. And then I'll fasten off and weave in that end. And this is what we'll have. This is what we've got for the end of the sleeve. It's quite a pretty little scalloped edge. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. Let's just straighten that out so you can see it properly. Here it's all its beauty. Right, okay, so what we're going to do now is I want to do another, I want to make this a bit thicker. I want to do this colour a bit deeper, but I have this much yarn left of this colour. So I'm going to do a couple of rows. I'm hoping I can do another 3 rows, but I don't know whether I've got enough to do another 3 rows, so I'm going to do a couple of rows at least. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going all the way around this outer edge. So I'm hoping I'll have enough to do more than 1 row, but we will see how many rows I can do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in one of these corners with a standing double crochet, and then I'm going to start my row of clusters going all the way around, obviously putting corners in the corners to keep it cohesive with the shape, and hopefully I'll be able to keep that 5 rows of dark colour in this. So here we go, we're going to start here with the corner and a stacked double crochet, a standing double crochet, not a stacked double crochet, a standing double crochet. So what I'm going to do is because I'm starting in a corner, I'm going to start and finish in the same corner. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets. So we've done 1, we're doing a second, and we're doing a third. Remembering to take that tail yarn with us as we go. Flip it over so it doesn't look funny. Right, so I'm just going to keep working my way. Oh, helps if I do that. I'm going to just keep working my way around, creating these clusters. Oh, let's just flip that round there. And see how far we get with the clusters. Hopefully I'll be able to do 3 rows, but if not, we'll be doing 4. I'll meet you back at the next corner. So I'm going to work up to the lapel part corner, and we'll do the next corner together. Okay, so we've reached the lapel part. So we are just going to do a normal corner. We're going to do 3 treble crochets, a chain 2, and 3 treble crochets. And we're going to continue this all the way around until we've finished the entire row. So we're going to do another corner on the opposite lapel, and we'll do corners in the corners and just keep going around till we get to our first corner that we started with. So I will meet you back when we get to the beginning of the round, and then we can judge how much yarn we've got left. Okay, so we have managed 1 full round, and I've chained 2 and joined with a slip stitch, and I believe we will have enough for at least 1 more round. And I'm just going to continue by coming back into the corner and creating that first cluster, by starting with a stacked single crochet like so, then creating 2 more double crochets. So we've got our first half of that corner created, and now I'm just going to continue doing clusters in the gaps. Corners in the corners, and you know the drill. We're just going to continue as we have done throughout the whole thing. So I'm going to go all the way around again, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. I managed to get another 2 rounds rather than 3 rounds. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, the dark is 4 rows deep, as opposed to everything else being 5 rows deep. But I think it looks pretty good. And now I'm going to put a bit of a white edging on. So across the bottom, I want to do the same sort of scalloping as I did with the sleeves. And then around the main body, I'm going to see if I've got enough yarn just to do a couple of rows of front post, back post, just as a little rib to finish off the outline of the main part of the front. So let's get started with the bottom. Okay, so how we're going to start is we're going to start the same way as we have done for most of the rows. When we've changed the colour, we're going to start with a standing double crochet. So we start with the slip knot, hold your finger on the knot, yarn over, go into the corner, and we're going to double crochet all the way around. So I'm going to do 2 double crochets in here. So I'm going to do this all the way around the whole of the outer edge and do corners in the corners. So for the corners, I'm going to do double crochet 2, chain 2, double crochet 2, and work my way the whole way around. And I will meet you back here when we have reached the end goal. So again, remember, we're going in every stitch rather than every cluster. So we're doing 1 in every stitch, like so, and just working our way all the way around, doing 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the corners. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. And what we've got here, what I've done so far is I did the double crochet all the way around the outside, and then what I've done is I've done, starting in this corner here, I've done a single crochet all around this bit here. So now I'm going to do the bottom, and I want to do the bottom the same way that I've done the sleeve. So we've got that scallop at the bottom. So this is how I'm doing that. I didn't record the single crochet because it is literally just a single crochet all the way around, and I've just done 3 single crochets in the corner rather than doing any chaining. So here we go, and we will do the next stage. So what we're doing is, I'm just going to get that 3rd double crochet in. So we're going a single crochet in. Okay, so we've got the single crochet here, and then I'm gonna do a double, I'm gonna skip 2 and do 7 double crochets in the 3rd stitch. The same way as we did for the sleeve. So 2, 4, 6. Seven, and then I'm going to skip 2 and do a single crochet in the third. Then we're going to skip 2 and do 7 double crochets, creating the next scallop along. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way along until the bottom's got that frilly edge. So we got 2, 4, 6, one more. And then skip 2 and a single crochet. So I'm just going to repeat that all the way along until that goes all the way to the other side, and I will meet you back. Okay, so now I've done the scallop all the way along, and I'm just gonna come into here with a single crochet, and then I'm gonna join the first single crochet of the round with a slip stitch, fasten off and weave in that very last end, and we are done. We're not done. What I'm going to do is I am going to just do a little tie. So I'm going to come up, I'm going to slip stitch up about 4 stitches. And on this one I'm going to do this as a single crochet, and then I'm going to do a stacked single crochet, but I'm going to continue stacking this single crochet until it gets to the length I want my tie to be. So we're just gonna keep going and keep going, just stacking single crochet over single crochet on top of single crochet until I've got a nice long chain, long enough for me to use as a tie on one side of the cardigan. So I'll come back to you once I've finished doing that, or once I've got to the length that I want it to be. Okay, so I have created the length that I want for my tie. Now I'm just gonna come back down that row with single crochets just to give it a little bit more substance, and then I'm going to go around the whole of the entrance until I get to about 4 from the end again, and do the tie for the other side. So we are just literally coming down, single crochets all the way down the side of that stacked single crochet that you just created, just to give it a little bit more structure. I mean, it's got quite a bit of structure as it is, but this just gives it a little bit more. And then once we get to the bottom, we'll then do single crochets all the way around until we get to the same point on the other side, to then create the opposite tie. And I will join you back when I get round to the other side, ready to do the opposite tie. Okay, so we've now got to 5 from the corner, and we're going to do another chain of stacked single crochets to create the other tie. Okay, so at this point I realised that
Stacked same power for
the tie was too low down. So I then frogged this entire row and then counted up 27 stitches from the corner as opposed to 4 stitches from the corner, and then repeated this whole process but with 27 stitches instead of 4 stitches, and then the tie sat exactly where it should have been.